Most cinema operates on the level of a spectator sport. We watch from a distance, safely behind the lines. Occasionally, and only occasionally, a film comes along which grabs you by the throat and forces you to experience rather than simply observe the action. Tonight's film, Salvador, is a kind of assault course on our psyche and emotions. In 1986, Oliver Stone astounded audiences with two films, Salvador and the semi-autobiographical Platoon, yet nothing in his previous work could have prepared anyone for this double coup. His career as a director didn't have an auspicious beginning. After writing 11 unproduced screenplays, he made a low-budget film in Canada called Seizure, which made zero impact. This was followed in 1981 by The Hand, a tale of digits on the rampage, which owed a largely unacknowledged debt to its 1946 predecessor, The Beast with Five Fingers, starring Peter Lorre. While his career as a director was on hold, he became highly visible as a screenwriter. And after his success with Midnight Express for Alan Parker, he wrote the Schwarzenegger epic Conan the Barbarian, Brian De Palma's remake of Scarface, and The Year of the Dragon for Michael Cimino. This was no cinema for wimps. Running through the work was a high degree of hysteria, a taste for melodrama, and plenty of gore. Bloodthirsty ethnic groups appeared to be his forte, and several of these films triggered accusations of racism. The generous view would be that Stone had yet to find his own voice. But in the mid-80s, with his re-emergence as a director, Stone appeared as a revitalizing force in American cinema. With Salvador, Platoon, Wall Street, and talk radio, he seems to have an unerring instinct for finding America's jugular. Platoon hit a national nerve and played a major role in America's coming to terms with its Vietnam past. And his most recent film, Born on the 4th of July, starring Tom Cruise as a paraplegic Vietnam vet, seems destined for Oscar glory. Stone's originality lies in pioneering a new kind of American cinema. Crudely, it's a mixture of Costa Gavras and Sam Fuller. It's socially and politically committed, but also visceral, with all the best qualities of the American action movie. A cinema of machismo combined with a leftist polemic. While the Vietnam War was being fought, it was, with the exception of John Wayne, a no-go area for filmmakers. Similarly, Hollywood has largely chosen to ignore the conflict in Central America. There were a few honorable exceptions, Roger Spottiswood's Under Fire and Haskell Wexler's Latino, but neither enjoyed any commercial success. It seemed that the US wished to remain in a state of blissful ignorance about events south of the border. This North American reluctance to confront these issues, to probe behind the blandness of the State Department's support for repressive regimes, is a major theme of Salvador. It's based on the experiences of a real-life, arguably larger-than-life character, photojournalist Richard Boyle. In 1980, when his life in San Francisco had fallen apart, he decided to return to El Salvador to savor once more its sybaritic delights, cheap wine, cheap women. With his unemployed DJ friend, Dr. Rock, this pair of easy riders headed south, searching for a surfer's paradise, a kind of latter-day Latin Haight-Ashbury. Instead, the reality they found consisted of death squads, brutality, and oppression. Stone doesn't spare us any of the horror. We witness the results of the systematic, all-pervasive violence of the state, mutilated children, casual executions, and the human rubbish dump of El Playón on the outskirts of San Salvador. In 1980s cinema, the photographer-journalist has easily overtaken the private eye as popular hero. It's a familiar image, Mel Gibson in The Year of Living Dangerously, Sam Waterston's Sidney Schanberg in The Killing Fields, and Nick Nolte in Under Fire. Most of these characters share a kind of dignity, even nobility. However, in Salvador, Boyle is virtually a pariah, a scavenger existing on the fringes of establishment journalism. He's crude, opportunistic, and devious, a self-confessed weasel. He's not the standard issue hero we expect. Yet there's a certain logic to this trickster being our representative in a situation as chaotic as Salvador. As Boyle, James Woods gives one of the greatest performances of the 80s. With his machine gun delivery and hyperkinetic body language, he's an explosive mixture of nerve, defiance, and bluster. And his high-octane style is best displayed in the extraordinary scene where he bargains with death squad thugs for the lives of his friends. The raw energy of his performance is perfectly matched by the film's visual style. Robert Richardson's training in Vietnam as a documentary cameraman shows in the film's frenzied cinema verite quality. Salvador is a savage indictment of a cruel, repressive government, still backed by massive US military aid. Stone's film is uncompromising, polemical, and sadly, still all too relevant today. Although the film itself was set in the early 80s, recent tragic events there, the murder in November of 6 Jesuits, and the assassination last weekend of the Social Democrat politician Hector O'Kelly, shows just how little has changed. Stone has created a film about life on the edge of an abyss, and one of the great political thrillers of today.